and welcome back to Check Out This Podcast. Today I'm joined by Jake Grip, who is the drag's executive producer of Originals, and we listened to an episode of Alive with Steve Burns called You Grew Up With Me, But We Never Met. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk about this.
Me too. This was such a fun episode to listen to, for sure. I listened to it on my drive to College Station, and I was like, wow, this is really good. Like, my drive went so fast. I want to start with, talking about Steve Burns. He's like the original Steve from Blue's Clues.
I know, right?
Did you watch Blue's Clues growing up? Like, is that nostalgic for you?
So I actually just figured this out. I didn't watch Steve as the guy from Blue's Clues just because I wasn't born in the 90s. But I watched another guy and on Nick Jr. and it was just really like Blue's Clues was a really big part of my childhood. So were like all the PBS shows, Dora the Explorer, all the ones where they would talk to me and ask me questions. I was like a very big TV kid growing up, I feel.
Me too. I really liked Sprout. Like that, I don't even know if it still exists, that one channel, Sprout.
Oh,
like,
the channel Sprout. Yes, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like I feel like they had a lot of good, like they would like pause and you'd be like, it's a rectangle.
Exactly. Just like involving the child in the media.
Yeah. So what got you into this podcast? Why do you like it? Is it just you like Steve Burns or?
I think that's part of it, but I originally saw it being like advertised on Instagram and I saw a trailer and I saw that he had all these guests that were planning to like come on like in this trailer, and one of them was this guy from a band that I really like called the Flaming Lips. Great band, highly recommend. But he was talking about sort of like being creative and like performing and stuff during that part of the trailer, and it just really sat deep with me. And I also just really like his voice. Steve has like a really like calming and like present voice that just like sounds really great to me.
No, for sure. When I was listening, I was like, wow, this is like, it's like soothing.
Right?
Like I felt very at ease listening to him, I think. So one of the big things they talked about was parasocial relationships, which I did look up to make sure I was getting the correct definition. It is a one-sided psychological bond, typically with a media figure. It usually involves like an emotional connection. So what do you think about like these parasocial relationships?
Like what do I think about them in general?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that, and then how it relates to like our childhood, like shows that we used to watch where we have these TV personalities who we're basically creating these parasocial relationships with.
That's so true because, I mean, when you look at it, they kind of set up like the formula to like form like parasocial relationships. Like when Steve is asking like, do you see this? Or when Dora is asking like, where's like the rectangle? Or do you see Swiper? All of that stuff.
Right.
It kind of sets up the audience to be like, I'm going to respond to you. I'm going to try to form this almost connection with you. So that's very interesting. They were talking about sort of like a lot about the benefits in the episode, and I agree with them. I think it's, it's okay to be social with somebody one-sided in a form of media as long as you understand that, it's like a form of media. Steve talked about this a little bit in the show where he's like someone from his audience, a fan of his, was like, oh, when you left the show, that traumatized me because it felt like I was losing a friend. And I feel like that takes into account like one of the harms of a parasocial relationship is that it is only one-sided. And so there's not that like consistent communication between both parties that needs to happen in like an actual relationship. And I think that's something the guest touched on a little bit as well. But I mean, all in all, I think, with like the right like expectations, a parasocial relationship's actually pretty all right.
I think so. I mean, one of the things that Steve touched on that really stuck with me was someone had said like, you literally raised me.
Yes.
And he was like, when does it go too far? Like, when is it a hyperbole versus when is this like a legit, like, does it do more harm than good? Especially when you have these shows that are aimed towards kids who really don't understand like that it is a parasocial relationship and maybe don't have the brain to know yet that these pauses that they're making like is just a pause in the TV and not a pause for them to listen back to you and really be having that relationship. So I think that it is an interesting thing. I think that there's a lot of benefits. Like, a lot of kids learn a lot from these type of shows, and they're really engaging. And they also, I think the professional who was the guest in this episode had also said, like, there is a lot of learning, and obviously it's better if you can have a real life human to be there and be, doing these like question answer format like conversations. But there are a lot of kids who don't have that necessarily, like their parents are working or just aren't present in their life, and that can be really beneficial to those kids' development. So I think it definitely, like, there's a lot of gray space and like what is ethical and like what's okay there, because there definitely can be some harm there, but I think it does a lot of good.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. I think it not forces, but encourages the kid to engage with like what they're learning with too, and I feel like that's important as well.
Right. And I think they talk about this in the episode as well, of like the need for human connection.
Oh yes.
And I feel like, it starts from such a young age, and these shows foster that connection in, some households where there isn't as much connection as maybe a child needs growing up. So I think that does also foster that connection and that, that relationship that kids are having with these TV personalities. I wanted to ask, on, the note of parasocial relationships, I think that they talked about like celebrity crushes could be considered a parasocial relationship. Do you have any celebrity crushes?
I think I told you this earlier. I was like it was almost like a professional crush on like Anderson Cooper and Jake Tapper, both like really good journalists. I am like I'm a journalism major, so I'm involved in that world. I saw Jake Tapper at a book talk last summer, and it's just like, oh, you've done all this great work. I can't believe that I'm in like the same room as you. I'm trying to think of any like other celebrity crushes I've had. Like I have like the typical man thing of like being obsessed with like Anthony Bourdain. If you know do you know who that is?
No.
He was like this really good chef who like wrote a lot and like was really like cultured and like artsy, and he had a travel show that I really liked watching with my dad. But I just really like admired his work as well. I wouldn't say like any like in the realms of like romantic like crushes. I don't know, but like I'm trying to think another like. Well, first off, do you have any celebrity crushes?
Okay, so when I was in high school, I was really obsessed with Tom Holland, and like I'm gonna be honest, like it's coming back because he's like the new.
He's the new Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is coming back. There's a new movie coming out, I think, this year, and so my family, I want to say it was literally my 18th birthday. They were like, we don't know what to get you. So they thought it would be really funny. Like at my like 18th birthday dinner, I opened my gift, and it's literally like a blanket with Tom Holland's face, like multiple pictures. Like it's a collage of Tom Holland's face. It has like been passed down to my sister who's 15 now. So like we're like passing the torch.
It's a family heirloom now.
It's a family heirloom. I'm sure it'll go to my 12-year-old brother,
Oh, of course.
Right. So it'll pass down through the generations, I assume. But I feel like right now, celebrity crush. Oh, I'm obsessed with Robert Irwin right now.
Oh.
I think it's the accent.
It's just like he's
like so
fun.
cutie.
Yeah.
And like the Irwin family is like so wholesome. Like,
they are.
Because I feel like I grew up watching Dancing with the Stars, and both of them were on, like both the kids, Bindi Irwin and Robert Irwin, were just on the show. So I feel like, and then everyone loved their dad. Like Steve Irwin is like, oh yeah, such a like celebrity personality.
Just like a great guy, and then you see that through his son as well.
So I think he's really cutie.
I will say that they did, in the episode, they did touch upon having parasocial relationships with things other than just people. So there was like having parasocial relationships with like religious figures, which I mean, just religion, but also having parasocial relationships with objects. Right. And I thought that was really entertaining. I have an answer, not entertaining, but like really interesting to think about. And then I have an answer, but I was wondering, do you have like any like parasocial relationships with any objects? Not to turn the questions onto you, but
I wasn't prepared to answer questions. I don't think, not off the top of my head. Maybe after hearing your answer, I'll like be inspired.
Totally. So there's the Art Institute in Chicago, right?
Okay.
So there's this one painting that is by it's by this artist named Ian Albright, who does these kind of like semi-grotesque, like really detailed like paintings, and it's called The Door, and it is literally just this giant painting of a door. And every single time I go to the Art Institute, I just think to myself like, oh, I have to say hi to the door. Like I have to go up and be like, oh, I just have to see it, Because like if I don't see it, it's just like, well, what am I doing?
Wow.
It's just like, yeah.
See, I don't know if I have anything quite like that. Like, I feel like I have, like, you know, like my normal, like, I have all the same jewelry I basically wear every day. Like, if I'm missing my jewelry, then, like, but I wouldn't say it's a parasocial relationship per se. Like, I think that's just, like, almost like I'm a creature of habit.
That makes
Like,
sense.
I'm very type A. I don't like change. So that's probably what that is.
You don't have like a little trinket on your desk that you say hi to or something?
No.
Is that just me?
Well, but I have a dog at home. So when I go home, I'm like...
That's just a social relationship.
Yeah, so I just, like, say hi to my dog. I'm like, hey, man, let's go play outside. So I don't think I really, like, necessarily have that connection with any object. But I think it does go back to, like, you know, are you in that place where you are feeling like you need more connection? And to me, like, I have, you know, the connection with my dog. And, like, you know, I call my mom a lot, as most people do, I do think.
Same. Yeah.
So then I don't really feel the need to, like, attach connections at this point in my life to other, like, items or, like, ritualistic things.
Oh, definitely.
So I think it's a huge thing of connection for people, of just, you know, how can they connect with anything in the world, because you don't want to feel alone.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the biggest thing, is no one wants to feel like they're alone. And so I think that's why people like podcasts. You know, we're sitting here doing a podcast, and I think that people like having that voice in their ear while they're, you know, walking to class or going to work, like driving in their car. Like, they get to have that, like, human connection in a way that maybe they're lacking in their normal life.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, that's like a big thing about being human. It's just connectedness. Like, that's just something we like.
Yeah. It's something I really liked about the podcast, too, is I thought that there was such authenticity from Steve.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Like, I really genuinely, it feels, I mean, I know everyone says this, like, with podcasts, but it feels like they're talking to you. And you're not just, like, I think that sometimes with some podcasts, it feels like, you know, there's 3 hosts, and they're talking to each other, and they're talking to their guests, and, like, it's great, and it's entertaining. With this, I felt like Steve was genuinely, like, talking, like, it felt like he was, like, talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if that's just his past as Steve from Blue's Clues. Like, maybe he's been, like, preparing for this. But he talks a lot about how he was, like, lacking that genuine connection. And that's part of why he wanted to start this podcast, was to form more genuine connections through, you know, letting viewers know the real him. Because they were like, you know, he left the show and people genuinely thought he died. And he was like, wow, that is, like, a crazy thing to experience of, you know, obviously he's not dead, he was retiring, and all of these kids who grew up watching him were like, oh no, like, he's dead, or he has a drug problem. Like, he's out there living his best life in his cabin in the woods, I do believe.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
what he said. So I think that was really cool, getting to hear a more authentic, less scripted side of him, and feeling like, you know, I felt like the title, like, you grew up with me, but we never met, like, it almost feels like through this podcast, like, you're actually meeting in some sort of way, like, the more authentic version of him, which is cool.
Exactly. What did you think of, like, the intro, where he was like talking to you?
It felt like Blue's Clues.
It felt like Blue's Clues.
I was like, oh, I was like, wait. I was like, it's kind of like, you know, it's like a nostalgic thing of they're having, like, a callback of, hey, like, I'm talking to you and you're listening, and, like, I thought it was really cool. I did also really like the way he ended it. I think I've talked in other episodes or with other guests, like, I love having a good takeaway at the end of a podcast, and I felt that the way he wrapped it up was so full circle. It felt very, like, he was talking to you and teaching you this lesson in the way that, like, a kid's show almost has, like, here's what you should take away at the end of every episode. And he basically asked, like, what if we treated everyone as a friend that we just haven't yet met? And I was like, wow, like, I was like, that literally is so cool and so special to think about. You know, everyone that we ever could encounter in life could be a potential friend. And if we just treated everyone like that, then the world would be such a nice place.
There'd be so much more kindness.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I love that. And I thought it felt very Steve of him.
It was. It was really Steve. He does that with, like, every single I've listened to this podcast for, like, quite a bit now. He does that with, like, every single episode, where, like, he'll intro it with being like, oh, I made you tea, and you can hear the cup being, like, set down and everything like that. And then he's like, how do you feel about this? What do you think about parasocial relationships? And then he gives, like, a pause, and then he waits for the person to respond.
Right.
And he does the exact same thing with the outro, which I almost, like, I kind of got, like, a little sad at the outro.
Really?
I don't know if you felt this way, but he was like, "So, are we friends?" And then he kind of was like, "I don't think we are." And
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've built up such a relationship with him, a parasocial relationship, that it kind of felt like that somebody was kind of like denying me their friendship and listening to that. And I thought
Yeah.
that was really just like, which is why I chose this episode, because it's that's what he does. That's like his thing.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like not only is he, teaching us stuff, but he's learning stuff about himself. And I think in a world where things are so, they're scripted, and we post these perfect photos on social media, and we want everything to be perfection, and he's like letting us through those curtains a bit, and he's showing us like you don't have to be perfect, and like he's learning these things about himself, and he's felt loneliness even though he's had all of this great success in his life, and like have all of these people who are like, you raised me, and like you were my childhood, but he still wasn't feeling fulfilled, and so now he's finding this fulfillment in himself, which I think is really cool. I do have some speed run questions for you at the end.
Let's go.
First, where do you listen to your podcast?
I would say it is mostly outside when I'm like walking to class, or like I'm out for a run or something like that. I also really enjoy listening when I'm cooking food in my kitchen, or when I like just wake up just in my room. I would say those are like my top 3 places.
Yeah, I feel like mine are pretty similar. I like
Right.
to go when I'm walking to class for sure. Why do you listen to podcasts?
It is mostly to be informed. I know it's like either to be informed or entertained, but it's mostly to be informed, because I think that's why I'm in journalism as well.
Right.
I just really like absorbing information and just knowing a bunch of things. It's why I liked Snapple fun facts when I was like a little kid as well. It's
Yeah.
just knowing.
For sure. And that takes us back to the nostalgia again.
Oh my gosh,
It
yes.
all circles back.
Exactly.
And then my final question for you is, when are you listening? Like what time do you like to, I know you said a little bit in the morning, but when is your go-to podcast time?
Definitely in the morning. I'm a big fan of Up First by NPR. Just like it's just like a good way to like start the day. Just to have people just like tell you things. I think it's just it's really nice, and it's a really good way to like start like a slow morning as well.
For sure. It's definitely better, I think, than probably getting on social media. which
Oh
is
my gosh, so
what
much
I
better.
typically do.
Yeah.
And then I don't get out of bed. so.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Of course.
I'm Gabby,
I'm Jake.
and thanks for tuning in to check out this podcast.